Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our final full series review now for the complete series of AMC's original Fear the Walking Dead. Alright dudes, so it is time for us to do our final series review now, full series review for AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. So we've done our reviews for the final episodes of the series for Season 8, reviewed the finale. This review here will be kind of giving our thoughts overall on the entire series as a whole. You know, kind of season by season, what we think about it, and now that it's fully finished and has completed, and they have not announced any spin-offs yet for any of the characters for Fear the Walking Dead. You never know, they might do. Maybe we'll see a spin-off for a particular group or something, like the Clarks, or maybe Daniel of some of the other strand. Who knows? I guess we'll see if AMC decides they want to do anything further with these characters. If they don't, that's okay though, because we did get 113 episodes for Fear the Walking Dead, which is a tremendous amount of episodes when you consider that each one is, you know, over 40 minutes, like the 42-minute runtime with, you know, with the commercials to fill it out for 60 on regular TV. So 113 episodes. Most seasons was 16 episodes. The final season, Season 8, had 12 episodes to kind of give it a good conclusion, 6 and 6 to wrap it up. And then it was 16 from 7 down to 2, which was 15, and Season 1 was only 6 episodes for the pilot season. So Fear the Walking Dead premiered in Season 1 with its pilot with over 10 million US viewers. It finished off the first season almost at 7 million US viewers. You add in international viewers. This is a huge, huge premiere for any series. Pretty sure it premiered with more viewers than the original Walking Dead started with. Because the original Walking Dead had built up, you know, a huge following, a huge fan base. And then in 2015, when Fear the Walking Dead started, bam, it hit with that huge premiere of 10 million people checking it out in the U.S. alone. And I feel like the beginning of the series was great. The first season, the first 6 episodes were really awesome. The only thing that I think a lot of us had an issue with is we wanted to see a little bit more of the breakdown of society. They kind of showed it for a little bit, and then they kind of quickly skipped ahead to post-apocalyptic. We wanted to kind of see a little bit more of the breakdown of society happening at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. At least we got to see some of it with the first few episodes, but then they kind of sort of quickly after that kind of skipped forward into the zombie apocalypse. But a good first season for the series, good introduction for the Clark family. There was Travis, there was you know, Daniel was introduced around this time with his family, and it was you had Nick at this time as well too, which was good. Getting to see their version of the start of the zombie apocalypse in The Walking Dead was also very good. So, you know, they did do some really good things to start off with in the first season. First season is good. Second season going in, I think, is also a really good season. They do go from about almost 7 million viewers US to the end of the season at about, you know, 3 million viewers. So it does decrease in popularity by the time you get to the end of the second season, but you know, that's probably likely going to happen. People get zombied out to a degree because now you have, instead of just 16 episodes of The Walking Dead, you actually have, you know, over 30 a year, which is quite a bit. So not everybody's going to be checking that out going forward. But it was still very popular in Season 2. Nick was a huge concentration here. Had some really good characters. And, you know, you had Luciana, I think, was introduced around this time. I think Season 2, although it was maybe a little bit drawn out, I think it was good drama, good season, and, you know, people do like it. With the first 3 seasons having been showrunner Dave Erickson seasons, they're typically regarded as good seasons. Season 3 now is usually, most people regard this as the best season of Fear the Walking Dead, I think, and maybe it is the best season the series ever does. You have the dam at the end. You have the ranch, which is really great as well too. And it is just a really awesome season to sort of cap things off of the first 3 seasons, the trilogy seasons with Dave Erickson, with really awesome, you know, groups here. You have Taka, who's one of the villains, who comes in sort of as a villain, and then almost like an ally. You have Madison, awesome stuff at the mid-season finale here. And I feel like this season, season 3, can stand up with the original Walking Dead series as a really good season of Walking Dead. Maybe the first 3 can. As really good seasons of Walking Dead. Good, almost as good as the original series, with season 3 being as good as the original series and better than some seasons of the original series, I'd say. More well received than some of the seasons of the original Walking Dead series. So the first 3 seasons of Fear, I think everybody basically agrees. They're great. They're really awesome seasons, and anybody who's a fan of the original Walking Dead series, if you like Walking Dead or you like the comics, I think the first 3 seasons of Fear are always worth a watch. They're fun. They've got great characters. They have surprising character deaths. They have some shock value. They have awesome locations. You get to see them use like the Abigail. They go sailing, right? They give us some different. We get to see Mexico, give us some different vibes, different feels, different locations for the zombie apocalypse that we never got to see in the original Walking Dead series. So definitely the first 3 have a lot of value and even replay value. They're something you can rewatch back, and they're damn good, dudes. They're fun. They're damn good. So now we get into the crossover period for Fear the Walking Dead, which gets, I would say, a lot of heat from a lot of fans of Walking Dead, because a lot of people say they should have just continued with what they were doing with season 3 and Dave Erickson and just continued on for a few more years. With the original pitched idea is that eventually you see Madison turn into a villain in Fear the Walking Dead. So as the seasons go by, she gets more and more twisted, and almost like a Walter White type character, she becomes a full-on villain. And maybe at some point her kids turn against her, Nick or Alicia, whatever, and they work that in, a few seasons later. But instead of that, what we ended up seeing is we saw a switch from showrunner. So Dave Erickson ended up leaving after season 3, and you had the 2 showrunners, Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg, come in with Gimple loosely involved, I guess, overseeing kind of. And we do have the crossover, our first crossover of Morgan. Now, this was in 2018, so this was like after All Out War. This was, I think, just before The Walking Dead really started to lose popularity. We found out Rick was leaving, and a lot of other things were kind of happening in Season 9 of the original series. Season 4, you have Morgan crossover, What's Your Story? And I think the first half of Season 4 is awesome. I think it's just as good as the first 3 seasons of Fear. It's different, though. It's a little bit more comic booky. It's more based around Morgan, and so it's different from the original series and what you're kind of used to from that Dave Erickson sort of style. It has a different style, but it's really good. Really, really well done for the first half of season 4. You also have the leave of Nick, so you get his final episodes, but it's handled in a good way. It's kind of shocking, and Charlie's introduced, and you have, it was a really hot time for Walking Dead around that time. Morgan crossing over was exciting, so it was sort of like a soft reboot. It was reinventing the series to a degree, but I think it still worked for the first half. Madison leaves as well too, but it's kind of okay because she does come back at the end, so it sort of fixes that. And you have Troy who left, or was sort of seemingly killed and then came back later. But I feel like them bringing them back later on sort of fixed a lot of those fan complaints that the people had with sort of the switching over to Morgan instead of Madison. So having them come back later, I think really kind of more combined the 2 series, made them more continuous from the first 3 seasons on forward, and gave us a good ending at the end, which really fixed, I think, a lot of the issues that fans had with the series really moving far away from that original roster and kind of that original feel with Madison and the Clarks and Troy and everything. So season 4's second half is where I'd say we start to get into problems. The second half of season 4 is really weak, and it's surprising because you have Morgan in there, and so he gives you a little bit of bump in interest and Fear with the crossover. But then as you get into the second season, man, it really starts to lose steam quickly. I would also say this actually occurs in season 5 too, where The first half of season 5, I think, is great. You have kind of the crashed airplane. It's very action oriented. It's really cool. You have some great stuff in it with Alicia kind of leading the show after Madison's leave, and Morgan as well. And I think they work great together, to see both Morgan and Alicia kind of at the forefront. I think they're awesome together to see them both. Even if it's just going around killing zombies after an airplane crash or whatever the case may be. I think it's fun trying to help people. We're here to help and all that stuff. Classic good guys, classic in wrestling we call the baby face, classic hero characters. It's cool, man. Like, it was good. The first half of season 4, definitely exciting, eventful, and something to watch. Edge of your seat type stuff. Second half, no. And then season 5, first half, great, with a great premiere, really good trailer stuff, and very, very good as far as the action aspects go. And then the second half, same problem. They had some questionable villains in the second half of season 4 and the second half of season 5. It really feels like with both seasons, because they had to do 16 episodes, by the time you got into the back half, they had used a lot of their best ideas. And you had some really weird stuff in season 5. Episode 9 is called Channel 4. You had Althea in here. They're like recording people on camera and stuff. Some of the weirdest stuff. There's even like a selfie, Channel 5, I think is the name of the episode in season 5, which is like one of the worst episodes in all of Walking Dead. Like, it's really, really, really awful. It's really bad. I have no idea what they were thinking. But, I don't know. You have different showrunners, so, very comic booky, cartoony almost in some ways. It's just... It was, okay, let's just put it this way. It wasn't good, okay? It wasn't good. The second half of season 4 and season 5 are not good. Maybe if you watch it back, you just skip those, because some of the episodes are a little bit embarrassing. They're definitely not great, and I just think they had trouble getting all 16 episodes done a year. It felt like maybe they didn't have enough material, or they started using ideas that were not very good. Some of the characters they introduced were not that good. They had some that were good, like you had John and Althea, that were, I think, both very good characters, minus the Channel 4, Channel 5 stuff. Reporter, April O'Neil, Althea, really weird stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. But, okay, season 4 and 5, probably the weakest, maybe the weakest parts of the series, the second half of both those seasons. That's all I really want to say about those seasons. Season 6 is freaking awesome. I don't know what happened between like season 5's second half and season 6, but somehow in season 6 they just really got their stuff together. You got to see some incredible episodes with Morgan. The end is the beginning. You get some awesome stuff throughout with Virginia and the group of kind of like a Western. It's almost like a zombie Western at certain parts in season 6. You get kind of a lineup like they did with Negan in the original series. They redo that in Fear. It's a great idea. You get some awesome action, some good stuff with John. He's got some great episodes in here. And, season 6 is just great. You have Teddy, who's an incredible villain with a nuke and everything. It's freaking awesome, dude. It's epic. It's exciting. Some awesome ideas. Some great group dynamics. You have a great group here because you still have Alicia in the series. You still have... Strand is good at this point still. John is good. Morgan's always good. So you do have some really great stuff. So I'd say, for me personally, Season 3 and Season 6, I think, are the highlights of the series. Season 6 is rewatchable. It's a lot of fun. And, it stands on its own as one of the best seasons of Fear, I think. Really, really cool. And zombie Western. It just works. It just works really well. And nukes. Nukes, it's hard to do nukes wrong. Season 7, after the nuke, though, this starts to be really, strange. Now, granted, we do have to say this was like post-pandemic period when they were trying to get their 16 episodes done, and it was like difficult to do. They did them, over 2021, 2022, and it was just, season 7 was kind of all over the place. You had like new characters brought in for the first few episodes. Then you have Alicia coming back. Didn't they have Alicia loses an arm this season? Stuff like that they did, which was, I don't know, questionable at best, I think. You had Strand in the Tower. So Strand in the Tower was great. And, for him as a villain, though. I think this was clearly the end of his story arc, though, with him now transitioning full-on to a full-on villain of the Tower. And I think that his storyline should have probably ended with him going down as an epic villain, epic series villain. But they decided not to do it. And they, again, had him flip-flop back again and go back to ally of Alicia, whatever, by the time it ended. We have Alicia's leave in this one. And then we have Madison coming back. Now, it works out okay because the finale, you get to see them reunited, so it's got a good payoff there, and they kind of hold it back for a while. They don't give you the reuniting between mother and daughter right away. You have to wait for it until the end of season 8. But yeah, season 7 has some great stuff with the tower, great stuff with Strand. Happy to see Madison come back at the end, and Alicia's leave was good, I think, and exciting and everything, questionable. But I don't know, there's something about season 7 which is really odd. I think it's because Strand ends up surviving, so the tower part feels like, what difference did it make? You kind of want to see, when Woodbury goes down, you kind of want to see the governor, his story arc wrap up pretty soon after. Strand goes full governor and still somehow makes it or something. I don't know. It's after and everything's okay. So it's kind of weird there. Speaking of kind of weird, we get into Fear the Walking Dead Season 8. Now, this is super weird, right? Like, this is after, though, the original Walking Dead series had ended. So the original Walking Dead series ends, and you see them come back for another season. Now, they had announced that it was the final season, though. So it's sort of like, yeah, we're going to end this, or it's almost canceled. It's almost like it was canceled, sort of, after the original Walking Dead series ended. The viewership was getting really low. I mean, Season 8 premiered with 500,000 viewers, which is not very much for a big series like this that's, hard to make and everything, with all kinds of zombies and locations and different cast and crew and everything. Like, it's a big thing for 500,000 viewers. That's not quite enough, I think, for them to really continue, especially without merchandise or anything. They don't really sell much Fear stuff either. So Season 8, first half is basically Morgan's half. You get to see Morgan leave in the first half. All I see is red is Season 8, Episode 6. First half is pretty good for Morgan. If you like Morgan, you're going to like this half. Madison's in here too. She works with Morgan a bit, which is good to see. We never got to see it earlier. So that works out pretty good. Morgan's leave, a little bit anticlimactic. Not as good as I thought it would be. And also doesn't pop a rating as you might expect. It doesn't really increase demand or really do much. It just feels like, okay, it's the original series over. Time to wrap it up. We got the call. We're wrapping it up. Okay, how do we give these characters a good ending for each important character? Okay, Morgan gets this part. We do the first 6 episodes for him. He gets to go back to King County. You see him leave. You finish off the storyline with Grace, and that's his end for the first half of Season 8. Disjointed, though, because the second half of Season 8 focuses on Madison and the others. And it just really feels like, instead of it being a story-driven selection for how they're going to do Season 8, it really feels like, to me, they just got the call and they were like, okay, we're finishing, so here's how we're going to do this. Morgan gets this part, Madison, everybody else gets this part, ending for Alicia and everybody else, and then we wrap up. Second half, Troy coming back, awesome, freaking awesome, but by this point, it was so late, a year after the Walking Dead original series ended. And it felt so late to see them come back after Morgan had gone. That almost felt like an ending for the series right there. That, you didn't have that much interest of people coming back. And I saw it when I was doing the reviews and stuff. A lot of people were not that into it. But I thought it was a cool idea to bring Troy back, get to see him work with Madison a bit more. It was chaotic in the second half. They tried to, I think, get a lot of stuff in. They had Tracy and all these other things happening, Padre and everything, Strand. And it just felt very crammed in the 6 episodes. It seemed like they wanted to do a lot of things with some twists and turns with who Tracy was and Troy and how that went and where Alicia was and whether or not she was alive or dead. And they did a lot. They had like the Alicia followers, the females that were inspired by her. And it just felt like they had all these ideas and they wanted to cram them in the final 6 episodes. And they really just didn't have enough time to really flesh out a lot of them. And they just kept going back and forth. It was exciting, though, the last few episodes. It was exciting. There was a lot to them. Maybe you got to rewatch it, but it did kind of make my head hurt because you're just going back and forth with who Tracy is, what's going on, who Troy is, where Alicia is, all these questions. And you kind of know at this point they can just sort of do whatever. It doesn't really have to follow logic that much based on the bringing Madison back, bringing Troy back. It doesn't have to follow logic too much. It's sort of more like, everybody can say Alicia's dead, but they can all be wrong, and she could be alive. And that's sort of what they did too, right? It's like they almost worked really hard to convince you that she's dead, only in the last scene to be like, to shock you, to bring her back, that she's not. So, and alive and everything, and reunited with Madison and everything. But so be it. It was a great ending, to get to see reuniting. It ties everything back into the early seasons. All the different characters go their separate ways. It finishes off the series in a good way. It's got a happy ending. You don't see too many character deaths, just like Charlie, but, season 4 to season 8, it's like, okay, whatever. That's something, but it's not like Strand being killed off or some of the others. You almost feel like near the end here, there probably should have been more character deaths. Maybe Strand would have been killed off at the end of season 7. Season 8, I don't know, maybe you could do like Daniel, Luciana, somebody like that. I don't know if you need to have them all survive all the way through, because I don't think you're going to use them in the future. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it unless you want to use them for crossovers or an episode for Tales of the Walking Dead, for example. So, series review, Fear the Walking Dead, full series review to finish things off. What did we think? You guys got to leave your comments below. I'm going to give the whole series of Fear an 8 out of 10, a solid 8 out of 10. Now, you may say, Trev, that's too high. Some of these episodes are crap. That, season 8 was a mess for the second half. You might say, again, they always have trouble with second halves, it seems like. Season 7 was a bit messy. Season 5 second half was a mess, and season 4 second half was a bit of a mess, or just not very good. Okay, I agree with you. Those parts were not very good, but they did 113 episodes, and for the most part, all of season 1 through 3 is great. All of season 6 is great. Some of season 7 is really good with Tower and stuff. And some of season 8 is really good. And I think they landed, they footed the landing when they needed to. When you needed to see a great, finish off scene with Madison and Alicia, they were able to give it to you. They were able to do it. So I would say I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. That's my score. Your score is yours. Don't bite my head off. I think it's more good than bad. And I think that, if anything, it just really suffers from trying to do 16 episodes a year on top of the original Walking Dead series, and some of those episodes end up just being like filler or end up being weaker episodes. I mean, it's just the way it goes. They have a smaller budget, I'm sure, than the original Walking Dead series. They don't have, the comic book storyline to go by, so they've got to create kind of everything. Some of the ideas are really good, like Teddy with the nuke, and some of those ideas are not so good, like the beer guy, or what is it, Sarah and Wendell, I don't know. Some of them are questionable, but some people like those too, so it depends, right? Or the news thing, it's like, okay, that's probably not a good idea. It's kind of silly, doesn't really fit, does it? I don't know. So that's what I'm going to give it. It's one of my favorite series of all time. It's a great companion piece to the original Walking Dead series. It ran for almost 10 years. 113 episodes is a lot at the time run. So, and it kept me, enjoying it, and it kept me watching to the end. So that's me. You guys leave your comments below. What would you score Fear the Walking Dead now that it's over? Full series review. Great series, guys. A lot of fun. Just some of the episodes here and there, maybe you skip if you watch it back. Watch all of the first 3 seasons. Watch the first half of season 4. Skip the second half of 4. Watch first half of 5. Skip second half of 5. Watch all of 6. Skip maybe some of the episodes from 7, first half. Watch the rest. And then season 8, you kind of have to watch it, even though a little bit of it near the end is a little bit chaotic. So that's my review. Fear the Walking Dead. Comments below, and I'll see you guys back again soon for another video. Be sure to subscribe at the bottom. Leave a like before you go, and I'll see you guys back again soon. As always, this is Trev saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.